evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the Mahoning Drive-In Theater, the largest single-screen drive-in in the United States. We're certainly glad you could be with us this evening, and don't forget the concession stand is open with all kinds of great things to eat and drink.
.3 Mahoning Drive-In Radio. Your old friend Virgil back once again, welcoming you guys to another installment of our special staff series, an inside look at the people behind the magic of the Mahoning, and super excited to have Uber fan turned concession manager with us today. Beth, welcome.
Thank you. It's nice to be here.
It's always great seeing you. Nothing brightens my day at the Mahoning more than seeing your big, bright smile.
Oh, thank you. I know when I was behind the counter, you would come through and be like, where is she? Oh, there she is.
I was literally trying to get that brightness out of you, you know? So just a few questions to kind of get people to know how you came to the Mahoning, how you came to work at the Mahoning, your experiences, things like that. So it's been really, really fun, and it'll be really fun because I know you have quite the storied past, being somebody who started as a fan and then kind of worked behind the scenes and now officially have a big managerial role. So
I know.
I'm excited. So we'll get right into it. First question I have for you: how did you first discover the Mahoning Drive-In Theater?
I did not discover the Mahoning Drive-In Theater. It was actually my significant other, Jeff, who discovered the Mahoning Drive-In Theater when you guys were doing your first Universal Monsters weekend.
Yes.
Yes, we actually came and we saw The Mummy and The Invisible Man. And it was absolutely phenomenal. I remember Jeff talking about how he had to change the lenses to make the mummy fit, I guess, on the screen. Like it was shot in a square. You know, so he had to change the lenses on the projectors. I was quite nervous. I was quite scared because I'd never been to a drive-in before.
So we were your first.
Yes.
Oh, I love that.
And my only. I have never cheated on you guys. Not
I love it.
Yeah, so never before. I believe Jeff had been to a drive-in once before. So here I am, me being me, nervous me, like Googling, what do you do at the drive-in? What do you need when you go to the drive-in?
How does this work?
Radio, blankets, the whole bit, you know?
Right.
And I think when we pulled up to the ticket booth, I was scared for my life. I was scared. It was a little scary.
It's for somebody who's never experienced the drive-in. Mark says this too. It's that thing of, it's not overwhelming because it is rather simplistic, but it is that thing of like, what do I do? Where do I go? Is there a protocol? And the beauty is there really isn't, you know?
Right. And where do you park?
Yeah.
You know, like.
Well, that leads to my next question, which Mark snuck in here. And I love it because it really does give a perspective to each person. Do you have a specific, I know the answer, but do you have a specific spot that you prefer at the drive-in and why?
I think everybody knows my specific spot.
It's your spot.
It's my spot. Now, when we first started coming, we actually used to park on the other side. So on the men's side of the drive-in. Right. And then somehow we wound up, we actually park right in front of Jeff. And that is my spot. Jeff normally parks he's like the third row. So I'm normally the row, like right in front of him. So I'm the second row. I don't park in the front. I'm not a front row person.
You're a second rower.
I am a second row person. Second, and like we used to camp a lot. I mean, a lot. And we only live 45 minutes away, but sometimes it's just nice to get out of the house for the weekend and just disappear. Like, because you can just disappear there and just be gone. And everybody knew where we were. Any of the girls I used to work with was like, what are they playing this week? And what's going on? Because they always knew I was there. But yeah, I'm definitely a second row person, and I'm always on that end spot. And it just,
I always know where to find you guys. Like you said, Jeff has his specific spot because it's the closest spot to the projection booth. If you haul some film in, his car is right there. But it's great because you guys are also the end of the row. So I can always rely on Jeff. If you're in the stand and Jeff's out in the car, I can rely on your Jeff telling people, hey, we're the last ones in the row. This is a walk. You know,
I get very frustrated. And, it's funny because that area there turns into a lake.
Oh, yeah.
We literally park next to Lake Mahoning. That's what we refer to it as. And why people park there? Why do
they think, ooh, this is an open spot really close to the center. I'm going to park right here. When clearly it's a walkway for people to walk up and down,
I will say, when people walk through that pond, that lake, it is quite funny in the middle of the night.
You get the front row of people getting the wet shoes. Well, that always adds to the excitement of the night.
Yes, it does.
Well, so, like you said, you started your love affair with the Mahoning early and with Jeff. And like Nancy and myself, it's very much a combination affair. Whenever I'm seen, people expect to see Nancy. Whenever I see you, I expect to see Jeff. And Jeff has certainly become an insane supporter of the Mahoning and has lent a hand many a night. So shout out to Jeff. But how did the transition happen from, being a fan to being kind of welcomed into the family and eventually working at the Mahoning?
I think it was actually you that kind of reached out and put that out there. Yeah. I think it was a Facebook comment, and it was like, well, you guys were always there on the weekend. Why don't you come down? I worked in childcare for 15 years. And when the COVID hit, unfortunately, I was quarantined because we were an essential. Yeah. So, just looking for work in between, going back to work. I actually chose not to return to work. So then I had to find something else to do. And what turned out to be, hey, I'll fill in on a Tuesday or Thursday when you need me, turned into a Tuesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday affair. So
you became incredibly essential to us.
Yes. But my workload at the childcare was a lot for me. And I think it really kind of drug me down. So I think taking that position and that job at the drive-in helped me because it was a lighter workload and it was fun and it was something that I enjoyed doing. And I think Jeff understood that and knew that, and he supported me all the way. Yeah. Like, he's like, if they need you there, you be there. Like, he was just so great about it. In a certain sense, you kind of lose that what we had together because that was our weekend thing. That was always what we did.
The getaway.
And all of a sudden, yeah. And then all of a sudden it became, well, I'm working in the concession stand. You're more than welcome to come in and hang out if you want to, or go sit and watch the movie, Yeah. But he was super, super supportive of it. And I think he was very thankful that I did it because it really brought me back to who I was. That person that I lost, it brought me back to being that person. So,
well, I can certainly relate to that as somebody who really does use the Mahoning as the light within me. Like I say it all the time, whenever I drive onto the lot, I can feel the weight lift off of my shoulders. All the stress washes away. And to put on a show at the Mahoning, as you know, it takes hyper focus. It gets insane. So it's a perfect welcome distraction. And this last year, it was kind of the perfect experience with literally wanting to be so distracted from everything that was going on.
Absolutely.
Exactly. Mm-hmm. So now that from my memory, I remember that we invited you we do an annual crew party.
Yes, I think that's how you sucker people in.
Yeah, that's our hook. No, it's funny because almost every single person that is on the staff now are people who are fans and then work their way in. So we have a way of really you guys have a way of really finding us, I guess I should say. But I remember we were talking in the stand and said, we should really reach out to Beth and Jeff. They're here all the time. They're super supportive. And it will be really fun. And I remember that was an exciting night for sure.
It was.
But, that really did bring us closer and got the ball rolling of, could we rely on them in a bigger way next year? And 2020 was the most roller coaster year, both inside the business and from people looking at it from the outside in. But what was your experience last year as far as, do you have a favorite memory? Do you have something that stands out when you think about 2020 at the Mahoning?
Bruce Campbell. Oh my gosh.
All day, baby, right?
Bruce Campbell. I mean, I think Jeff and I were on the way down, and I looked at him, and I was driving, and I literally turned to him and I looked at him and I said, when did you ever think our tiny little drive-in sometimes would have maybe 10 cars on the lot? All of a sudden would have Bruce Campbell there on the lot.
It's unbelievable, you know?
I mean, that I think was definitely, and not that you haven't had people on the lot. I mean, Gremlins, you know, like those kinds of things. But like to have Bruce Campbell all of a sudden on the lot, it was just,
It was a huge level up. And you can speak as an insider from when you guys started coming. It really was, I'm sure, lightly attended. You felt like this is my personal place. It's kind of a hidden gem that is mine. And, you know, you've been able to see the growth from the popularity of the documentary to now the big stars and Hollywood embracing us. So what do you have to say to that as far as, you know, seeing that?
I think it's fantastic to see. And I sometimes when you pull on the lot, you're just like, I just want that small drive-in back sometimes, you know, just like that.
You almost want 10 cars to be there?
Yeah, sometimes it's nice. But I mean, overall, like I couldn't be more excited. It's nice to see so many people just outreaching from everywhere. I mean, everywhere, who want to come and see what we do and, you know, how we do it.
Yeah.
I think it's great.
Yeah, it really is a magical thing. And I say it on the air, on the radio all the time, on the lot, that especially last year, it was amazing to give people such a rich escape and still have a sense of community, which we feel is so important at the Mahoning. Now, when you are our concession stand manager, and a lot of times you are literally stuck inside of the concession stand, but do you hear that love from fans and people as far as like, hey, I came this far, thanking you, things like that?
I think it was difficult for me early on in the season, only because I was in there on a regular basis. Yeah. When we opened that last weekend, the concession stand, you could definitely see it and you heard it, you know, and people that were returning and coming back after, you know, multiple times.
Oh, yeah.
I think sometimes when I was out at the merch stand, because I was kind of all over the place at the beginning. I was out at the ticket booth and, you know, out at the merch stand. Definitely people from everywhere saying, you know, we didn't even know you were here and we live 20 minutes away. And I was like, yeah, I was one of those too.
I was one of those. That's what's mind blowing is, you know, you don't have the past experience of, you know, the childhood experience at the drive-in, things like that. But even for people who are our age, it became a relic really fast. You know what I mean? And it became a situation where it was like, you know, drive-ins, what is that? That's a thing of the past. And even now when I talk about, you know, I run the Mahoning Drive-In Theater, people look at me like, there's drive-ins still?
Yeah. And I think too, you know, you kind of get that feeling, but unfortunately, it's like when Jeff plays that intermission reel on the projector and it talks about the speaker boxes. Yes. I will never really experience that. Like there are things that the drive-in provided how many years ago that you really won't experience, like those little heater boxes that people had in their cars.
It's a culture. There's an air of mystery to all of this stuff, you know.
I mean, some of that would be really interesting, but I know I probably will never see it.
Yeah, we still have the baby bottle warmers in the back of the stand. So, you know, when people brought their babies, they could put their baby bottles in what looks like the most unsafe, ready to catch fire thing. So it's kind of great to see. And that's the stuff that I eat up really behind the scenes, is the deeper culture of it all. The fact that we have somehow been able to bring an art form and experience that has been around for so long and kind of reinvent it or find a way to present it in the new era.
And I think too, not digitally, being able to run those projectors and play those films on the original 35 millimeter is just fantastic. And none of those films are ever the same, you know, when they run. You know, they're scratchy and they're jumpy, or then you get some of them and they're absolutely pristine prints and they've been around forever and ever and ever.
Yeah,
So I think too, and allowing people to come in and to be able to see that and learn about them and how those reels work. Like I never knew how those reels work or where the sound comes from.
Well, Jeff says it perfectly. We are a functioning museum, and when people come in, it really is like a lesson in time where, oh wow, this is how I used to experience movies before it was, everything digital and the whole world gone digital. And that's what is so kind of essential about the Mahoning success is, if it weren't for theaters like us that were our repertory showing classic films on film, it would be a dead medium. So it's great that we're able to kind of establish ourselves as, this cult following and get so many people converts from all over the place who probably years ago may not have cared about the aesthetic of film and the difference of film. And, then we have people who come into the booth every single night. They want to get a picture with the reels, things like that. So it's really amazing to see that push forward. So what do you do? This is the hardest question, and I'm almost going to take it off of the list because I try to think of what I used to do for fun, like besides the Mahoning. And now that we're in the off season and, still in kind of pandemic mode, I haven't had like a sense of normalcy. Like this is probably the most normal thing talking to somebody that I've had in a while. But what do you do when you're not at the Mahoning or when you guys are in the off season?
Well, right now, I think Mark puts it best, like I'm between situations, I think is how he puts it. So, and a lot of people probably don't realize I'm a huge video gamer.
No way. I did not know that.
Oh yeah. So we have a lot of systems. I've been trying to catch up on a lot of PlayStation 4 games that I might have missed out on. Oh yeah. I just started playing Darksiders and Darksiders 2.
Oh, I love it.
I had to. Oh my gosh, what I play? I played something else just recently too, and I just there were games that I just had to catch up on, and I just had to play, and I literally finished my one video game, and I'm like, well, now what am I going to play? Thank goodness PlayStation was having the most fantastic sales on video games because I literally picked them up for like $5.
Oh, that's amazing.
But I'm a huge video gamer.
So you must be excited about the video game weekend that's going to be going off again.
Oh, absolutely. We attended one. What was it? Mortal Kombat. I think Jeff actually tried to play it.
It's challenging. It's tough to play on a massive 110-foot screen. It's quite different than playing on your home console. But you have kind of the inside dirt of things to come. What would you say to the fan listening to this about the 2021 season?
I am super excited for the Disney collaboration.
Yes, finally.
I've seen some things and I am pretty excited. So is Jeff.
Yeah.
Because, he gets the inside scoop now too. And I'm like, you got that because of me.
It's coming.
Yeah, definitely Disney. I'm really, really excited for that. Of course, not animation, but a lot of really good live movies that you can play.
We tried to really mix it up. For those of you who don't know, we got access to the Disney vaults, which they are very, very particular, as everybody knows. And as far as I know, we're the only ones who are able to show 35 millimeter Disney at a drive-in. So insanely proud to have jumped that hurdle. But now that we have access to the vault, we really tried to go with, some classic 70s era, 80s era, 90s era, and really mix it up. And I think fans are going to go bonkers.
I think when we played Hocus Pocus and seeing that big blue screen and hearing like that,
and then the star comes rising.
I almost wanted to cry.
I know. Because
it literally happened. Like it's kind of like Bruce Campbell. It happened.
Yeah. Well, it is. It's one of those things the way I tell Jeff now is we're on a magic carpet. Now that the wick has been lit and, the success has kind of taken on a life of its own, the documentary lives out there. People discover it every day. Mm-hmm. It feels like a magic carpet. And these things now come to us and are presented to us that we used to have to fight so hard for. And the Disney thing was a big, hard battle. We had to show them 3 years of programming, go deep into how we handle film and our projection system and all that stuff, very much like the Library of Congress, the way we were able to prove to them that we were worthy. So it's really great that, the industry has now accepted us and supports us, and Hollywood, obviously, now that we are having the guests come out regularly. A lot of people asked, are you still going to do guests this year? And it's like, we set the bar every year and then we try to jump that, Right. So certainly there will be a lot to look forward to in 2021.
I'm like, yay!
I know, back to normalcy, right? So is there anything else that you want to throw in there? Any other memories? Anything, you're looking forward to?
Any memories? Oh my gosh, you totally got me now.
Were you able, I'm trying to think, there were probably so many movies last year that you weren't actually able to see.
Yeah, no, I mean, I would definitely say it was not a favorite of mine, but seeing West Side Story up on that screen was absolutely amazing. And that print was just beautiful.
Yeah.
And if you have never seen West Side Story, that is the way to see that movie. There's no
CinemaScope beauty. The color was flawless.
It just popped.
Yeah.
And which is funny because I think you guys played it with Little Shop of Horror, and that 35 millimeter print was so rough, so jumpy, but it so fit that movie. Like, you couldn't have asked for a better print of that movie because it just fit. It was gritty and it was scratchy, and we were watching at one point and it literally jumped from one scene to the next, and you were like, what happened?
What happened? What went missing?
I would tell people that it doesn't matter what is playing, you just need to go. Just get in your car and go. I mean, and a lot of weekends, we didn't even know what was playing. We were like, we came from some Euro shock horror fest the one time. With Harry from Exhumed. We didn't know what was playing. We just showed up and we watched these movies and we were like, wow.
The movies really do become secondary because I'm sure, like yourself, it is more now about the camaraderie, the experience. And Mark says it well that it could be the same movie playing every night throughout the week, and it's always going to be different. It's always going to be a different crowd and a different experience. So,
and we met a lot of people. We met a lot of people camping in the back of the lot. Hey, can I borrow your hammer? Somebody needed duct tape the one time to fix their air mattress because they popped a hole. Didn't ask questions. Just said, yep, I got duct tape in the back of the car. Here you go. You meet people, you get to know people's faces. You're like, hey, what's going on? And catch up with people. It's just so nice to see that community and that love for the drive-in.
The amount of friends that we've all gained, it's just... It's staggering. And I say the Mahoning really is the gift that keeps on giving, even to the point of this podcast. This is something we've been talking about for so long. And now it's at a point that executing this, feels like second nature. We kind of live on the microphone every single weekend and have that relationship with the audience. So it makes sense to just extend that out for people. So it's very, very exciting. Beth, I can't wait to get back in the groove with you this season.
Oh, I can't wait.
I know. And it was always great talking to you. And thank you so much for doing this.
Thank you.
You got it. For Mahoning Drive-In Radio, it's your old friend Virgil signing off. And on that note, Jeff, take it away, my friend.
Ladies and gentlemen, thanks again for coming out tonight to the Mahoning Drive-In Theater. We hope you'll come back and see us again real soon. The exit is on the right-hand side of the screen at the front of the field, and most importantly, have a very safe trip home. Good night, and God bless you.